World War II. How three angry men intentionally set the world on fire. How did three nations, each with a chip on their shoulder and a dictator with a questionable haircut, decide to rewrite the global rulebook? Why did the world ignore the warning signs until tanks were rolling, cities were burning, and treaties were used as napkins? What happens when ego, ambition, and moustaches collide on a global scale? This is not just history. This is World War II. The empire strikes back, but with more moustaches. From Mussolini's Adriatic daydreams to Hitler's blitzkrieg speedrun, from Japan's explosive excuses to Britain's stiff upper lip defiance. We're diving into the full saga of how the worst roommates in history turned the world into a battlefield. So grab your popcorn, tighten your helmet, and prepare for a journey through betrayal, blunders, and bombers. Because once you start watching, you'll want to know. How did Mussolini go from socialist schoolteacher to fascist emperor? Why did Hitler think invading Poland was a good idea? What made Japan say, let's blow up our own train and blame China? And how did Britain survive when everyone else folded like cheap lawn chairs? It's 1902. Italy is a mess, and Benito Mussolini is a young man with a dream, not getting shot in a war. So he skips town to Switzerland, which is basically Europe's neutral couch. There, he dives headfirst into socialism like it's a hot tub full of revolution. He writes angry articles, he waves angry fists, he gets arrested by angry Swiss police, he gets deported, returns, gets arrested again, rinse and repeat. Eventually, he gives up and does his military service, because apparently dodging it twice is enough cardio. Then he becomes a school teacher, which is hilarious if you imagine him yelling at children about overthrowing monarchies during spelling tests. But Mussolini's real talent? Yelling at grown-ups. His speeches are fire, his articles are spicy, he's anti-war, anti-monarchy, and pro-riot. When Italy invades Libya in 1910, he protests and gets arrested again. This man collects arrests like Pokemon. Then comes World War I, and Mussolini has a plot twist worthy of a soap opera. Wait, war is bad, but maybe war is good. If it leads to revolution, boom. He flips from anti-war to pro-war faster than you can say hypocrisy. His socialist buddies are not amused. They kick him out. So Mussolini invents a new ideology, Fascismo, a spicy blend of nationalism, imperial nostalgia, and baldness. We'll rebuild the Roman Empire. We'll unite Italians. We'll look really intense while doing it. In 1922, he marches to the king and says, "Make me prime minister, or I'll make me prime minister." The king, who apparently skipped the assertiveness training, says, "You and what army?" "This one." "Fair enough." And just like that, Mussolini becomes Europe's first fascist dictator. Italy goes from pasta to propaganda in record time. Meanwhile, Germany is having the worst hangover in history. After losing WWII, the Treaty of Versailles hits them like a truck full of bricks. They lose land, they lose pride, they lose their military, they owe money they don't have. And they're basically told to sit in the corner and think about what they've done. Imagine being told you can't have an air force, and also you owe billions, and also you're not allowed to feel good about anything ever again. That's Germany in the 1920s. Enter Adolf Hitler, a failed artist turned soldier turned professional rage machine. He's mad, like really mad. He joins a tiny political party, gives some fiery speeches, and in 1923 tries to overthrow the government in the beer hall putsch, which sounds like a frat party but ends in prison. While in jail, he writes Mein Kampf, which is basically his manifesto of madness. And when he gets out, Germany's economy is so bad that people start thinking, well, maybe the angry guy with the weird mustache has a point. By 1933, Hitler is chancellor. By 1934, he's Führer. He builds a dictatorship, rearms Germany, and starts making aggressive moves like a chess player hopped up on caffeine. So now we've got Mussolini in Italy, dreaming of Roman glory. Hitler in Germany, dreaming of Aryan supremacy. Japan and Asia, dreaming of empire and expansion. And the rest of the world nervously sipping tea, pretending everything's fine. Spoiler, everything is not fine. The 1930s become a montage of invasions, alliances, and ominous speeches. And by 1939, the curtain rises on the most devastating war the world has ever seen. We already met Mussolini, Italy's angry bald man with Roman cosplay dreams. He's got fascism, he's got fanfare, and he's got a whole lot of ego. But now enter stage right. Adolf Hitler, Germany's angriest art school reject turned dictator. These two had a lot in common. They hated communism, they hated democracy, they hated the Treaty of Versailles, they hated not being in charge of everything. Basically, they were like two guys at a party who lock eyes across the room and realize, you hate all the same things I do, let's be besties. And then Japan walks in like, hey, I just conquered northern China. Mind if I join the squad? And Mussolini and Hitler are like, you had us at conquered. Welcome aboard. Let's rewind. Japan had been chilling in isolation for 200 years, sipping tea and ignoring the world. Then America barges in like, open your ports or we'll open them for you. Japan, now forced into global trade, gets hit with a bunch of unequal treaties that basically say, you're in the club, but you're not allowed to sit at the cool kids' table. Japan's economy tanks. They have no natural resources. So they do what any empire-hungry nation would do. Go shopping with bayonets. They invade China. They grab Korea. They win a war against Russia, which stuns everyone. They take German colonies in WWII. Then they blow up their own train in Manchuria, allegedly, and use it as an excuse to invade. Japan's motto becomes, if you don't give us a seat at the table, we'll flip the table. So now we've got Germany wants to undo Versailles and create a racially pure empire. Italy wants to cosplay as ancient Rome and conquer Africa. Japan wants to dominate Asia and prove it's just as imperial as the West. They all believe they're racially superior. They all hate the Allies. They all want more land, and they all think war is the answer to everything. It's like a group project where everyone wants to be the leader and nobody brought the textbook. Hitler starts breaking the Treaty of Versailles like it's a piñata, builds an air force, reintroduces conscription, sends troops into the Rhineland with orders to run away if anyone says boo. The Allies? They do nothing. They're too busy sipping tea and practicing appeasement, which is basically, you can have this thing, but no more. Okay, I want that thing too. Fine, but seriously, no more. I want that thing. Oh, for crying out loud. In 1938, Hitler just walks into Austria like it's a surprise party and declares it part of Germany. No resistance, just vibes. Then he demands the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. The Allies hold a meeting in Munich, but forget to invite Czechoslovakia. It's like planning someone's surprise eviction without telling them. Neville Chamberlain returns home waving a piece of paper like, peace in our time. And Hitler's like, thanks, now I'll take the rest of Czechoslovakia. Not wanting to be left out, Mussolini scans the globe for a country so underdeveloped that his tanks could roll through without breaking a sweat. He finds Ethiopia, where people are literally defending themselves with wooden spears and bows. And Mussolini's like, perfect, I'll take it. It's colonialism at its most cartoonishly evil. Having one fascist dictator is bad. Having two is a geopolitical nightmare. Having three, with Japan, is the axis of aggression. They're not just angry. They're organized. They're not just militarizing, they're invading. And the rest of the world is still trying to negotiate with people who don't believe in negotiation. It's like trying to reason with a tornado. Let's start with Italy. Mussolini had already declared himself the CEO of Fascism, Inc., and now he wanted to expand his empire. But where to go next? He looked east, across the Adriatic Sea, and saw Albania, a small mountainous country with goats, rugged terrain, and absolutely no chance of resisting Italian tanks. Why Albania? Because Mussolini wanted control of the entrance to the Adriatic Sea, which is basically the watery front door to the Balkans. Controlling Albania meant strategic naval access, a launch pad for Balkan influence, and most importantly, bragging rights at fascist dinner parties. So in 1939, Italy just took it. No dramatic speeches, no resistance, just Mussolini showing up like, nice coastline, I'll take it. Now let's hop over to East Asia, where Japan was busy playing empire builder with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. They'd already invaded Manchuria in 1931, and now in 1937 they were itching for more. Cue the Marco Polo Bridge incident, a skirmish between Japanese and Chinese troops that may or may not have been staged by Japan. It was the geopolitical equivalent of, oops, I tripped over your border. Guess, I'll take your capital. Japan launched a full-scale invasion of China, sweeping through Beijing, Shanghai, and then down the Yangtze River to Nanking, where things took a horrifying turn. The Nanking Massacre was one of the darkest chapters of the war. mass executions, unspeakable atrocities, and a brutal occupation that shocked the world. Japan's imperial ambitions were now drenched in blood. Back in Europe, Hitler and Mussolini were getting cozy. They signed the Pact of Steel, which was basically, if you go to war, I go to war. BFFs forever. This was bad, like we should really start panicking bad. Because now you had two fascist dictators with matching uniforms and matching delusions of grandeur. Hitler had been eyeing Poland like a kid staring at the last cookie. The Polish corridor split Germany in two, and Hitler wanted it back. But the Allies, finally waking up from their appeasement nap, warned, if you invade Poland, we will declare war. Hitler didn't want a two-front war, so he made a deal with Stalin. Let's split Poland. I definitely won't betray you later. Stalin, who apparently hadn't read the fine print, agreed. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. On September 3rd, Britain and France declared war. And just like that, World War II had begun. After Poland fell, the Allies did nothing. France launched a mini-invasion into the Saarland, then turned around like, well, that was exhausting. They built the Maginot Line, a fancy wall of defenses along the German border, but forgot to extend it to the English Channel, which is like building a fence and leaving the gate wide open. Meanwhile, Britain dropped propaganda leaflets over Germany. One air marshal said they were only useful as toilet paper. Churchill was not amused. Germany needed Swedish iron ore, which was shipped through Norway. The Allies tried to block it, but Norway and Sweden were like, we're neutral. Please stop asking. So Britain mined Norwegian waters. Germany saw through the plan and invaded Denmark and Norway. The Allies scrambled to respond, but Germany had air superiority, and the Allies had regrets. After this embarrassment, Chamberlain resigned, and Winston Churchill took over with the energy of a bulldog in a hurricane. Hitler's plan was simple: defeat France, knock out Britain, turn east and crush the Soviet Union. The Allies expected a repeat of WWII. But Hitler had a new trick: blitzkrieg, lightning war. Germany invaded Belgium. The Allies rushed in. Germany smashed through the Ardennes, which the French thought was impenetrable. Spoiler, it wasn't. The Allies got encircled. Britain barely escaped at Dunkirk thanks to civilian boats and sheer desperation. France collapsed. Paris fell, and Hitler strutted through the city like he'd just won Eurovision. Hitler hoped Britain would surrender. Britain said, nah. So Hitler tried mind games. He let France exist as a puppet state. He hoped Britain wouldn't attack French colonies. Britain responded by blowing up French ships in Algeria. Then came the Battle of Britain. Germany bombed ports and RAF bases. Britain bombed Berlin, just to annoy Hitler. Hitler got mad and bombed London instead. British morale held firm. The RAF regrouped and repelled the Luftwaffe. Hitler's invasion plans were postponed. The Blitz continued. But Britain stood strong. History isn't just dates and battles. It's the raw emotion, the untold stories, and the human choices that shaped our world. If you felt the weight of a moment, the chill of a decision, or the spark of curiosity watching our videos, don't let it end here. By subscribing, you're not just joining a channel, you're becoming part of a community that believes in learning from the past to better understand the present. Every click helps us bring more powerful stories to life, with the depth, drama, and detail they deserve. Let's explore the world together, one story at a time.